Recording in progress.
A very good morning to all my dear students. I welcome you for today's class, which is a fourth class today for Sale of Goods Act. We have already completed Unit 1, Formation of Contract of Sale. We have almost winded up Unit 2, that is Implied Conditions and Warranties. Today, we'll be completing the last part of Conditions and Warranties, that is your chapter number 2, and we'll be starting with chapter number 3, that is Transfer of Property and Ownership. Good morning, Mr. Shaurya Kumar, Mr. Ronak, Amal Reshma, Meenu, Pratha, Sneha, Chinmay, Poonam, Vivek, Pavan Yadav, Harsh Gupta, all of you, a very good morning, children, and welcome to the class, Prabjot Kaur, everyone. So I hope, like good students, you all have revised what we have done in the previous lecture. We have completed almost the chapter of indemnity and conditions and warranties. I don't know why indemnity and guarantees coming to my mind today. Conditions and warranties we have already completed. But before we proceed ahead, we're going to have a quick recap, revision, and a small test of yours, just to make sure that how much my students remember. So any doubts till what we have done as of now? So as I always tell you, a little progress each day is going to add up to the big results. So we keep on progressing day by day. We are completing our syllabus. It's okay, Pavan Yadav. Everyone faced that problem the other day. Now there is no technical error and nobody is getting removed from the class. So be happy and enjoy the class. Good morning, Shri Krishna, Sabhyata, Prabjot Kaur, Pratha, all those who have just joined the class now. And Poonam Punya has written, no doubts, ma'am. So that's wonderful. That means you have revised it and now everything is crystal clear in your mind. So keep progressing little by little so that you get the big result. That is your final CA degree. So let's have a quick revision. How can we treat the breach of condition as breach of warranty? So do you agree that we can have breach of condition can be treated as breach of warranty? Yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am? If yes, what are the 4 cases in which you're going to treat it? Can a buyer return the goods if it's on? Yes, Sabhyata, that depends if you have made known to the seller and still there is a defect, there is a latent defect, you will say that the goods do not correspond to sample and description, then you can return the goods. So yes, ma'am is the correct answer for the first question. But what are the 4 cases? Meenu has mentioned voluntary waiver, breaching, treating it as warranty. What else? When the contract is divisible, non-divisible, all the students over here on the portal as well, you have to answer. Monu Singh, Maheshwar. All right. So you remember the 4 cases. Breach of condition can be treated as breach of warranty if there is a compulsory waiver or voluntary waiver. The first 2 cases are voluntary waiver where the buyer did not want to part with the goods, and compulsory waiver happens when the contract is not divisible or by excuse of law or impossibility of performance, due to which now the goods cannot be returned. Now let's have a quick revision of implied conditions. Name the 7 implied conditions that we have completed. Prabjot Kaur have written it beautifully. Somebody have written, ma'am, I've learned it also. That's wonderful. Meenu Dubey, excellent. And please write all the implied condition as to title. Shri Krishna, very good. Meenu, very good. As per description, as per sample and description. It's not owner of title, it is implied condition as to title. Sale by sample, somebody is saying. So it is implied condition of sample as to sample. So you have to learn. Now this is your legal language. So we expect you have understood the meanings. Now little learning part is required. We cannot make the law very, very general. At least the headings have to be learned. Implied condition as to title, जब ownership की बात है, description की बात है, mobile कैसा चाहिए तो as to description. Sample testing करी, walnuts खाए, vanilla cake खाया तो sample हो गया. Sample and description दोनों है. Quality and fitness, merchantability and wholesomeness. Regarding food, it is wholesomeness, and if it is not food, it is merchantability. What is the meaning of implied condition as to quality and fitness? So we did a very, very important part in the last class that generally there is no implied condition as to quality and fitness. Means if I'm supplying you the goods, then it is as per the requirements. Maheshwari Paddy, we will be doing case studies, but first it is important to complete the syllabus. So once we are done with the syllabus, I'll do some important questions with you related to case studies and we'll learn how to write those questions. All right, Mr. Maheshwar? Hanji. So let's proceed. Implied condition as to quality and fitness. Who is going to tell me 3 conditions in which implied condition of quality and fitness becomes applicable? So Pavan Yadav, the difference between warranty and guarantee. Guarantee is something where the seller is giving you surety that if the goods do not turn as per the requirement, you can return them, or if there is any defect, we can replace them. But warranty is a terminology which is used in Sale of Goods Act, which specifically talks about if the warranty has been, which is a collateral part, something which is related to the main purchase, to the main contract. If that is not fulfilled, you can claim the damages. Roshali, excellent. Meenu Dubey, excellent. Meenu is the only one who is sending all the answers. Roshali is also sending. What about others? Prabjot Kaur, good. Vivek Sharma, Sri Krishna. These are students who are answering very nicely. Very nice. Very good. What about others? Amal Reshma, Pavan, Harsh Gupta, Krishan J. Have you not revised the concept, children? So the 3 cases are where you have made known to the purpose to the seller for which the goods are required. You are relying on his skill and judgment, and he must be dealing in those goods. Now let's take an example. You want to get a shirt stitched for yourself. You are a male and you want to get a shirt stitched for yourself, a collar neck shirt. And you went to a ladies' tailor who actually stitches suits for ladies. Can you say the seller is the one who deal in the goods of that description? Yes or no? No, ma'am. Okay? Okay, Ayush, no problem. Very good. Now everyone has answered it. Why? Because he should be dealing in those goods. How can you blame buyer's mistake? Very good, Amal Reshma. You cannot blame a seller if you are yourself going to a wrong person. So you're entering a restaurant which offers you Chinese food, and when you are sitting over there, instead of Chinese, you're asking for the continental or Italian food. Then it is your mistake. You are in a wrong restaurant. So if you want to eat a pizza, you're going to Domino's. In Domino's, you cannot ask for chili cheese and noodles, right? So this is your implied condition as to quality and fitness. That is, you're relying on the seller's skill and judgment, and he should be dealing in those goods, and you have informed him for what purpose the goods are required. All right. Now, wholesomeness is related to food and mercantability is related to about whether the goods are in good condition or not. If the goods are all toned, you have purchased a notebook. When you open the notebook, it has all toned pages. That means there is issue related to its mercantability. मतलब goods working condition में नहीं है, proper condition में नहीं है. अगर आपने ये highlighter purchase kara and the cap of the highlighter is broken, it has come out, it's like this, then it is not merchantable. Merchantable means it should be in proper working condition. When you're able to use it, you're able to close it properly. Everyone is clear. So I'm glad, students, you have revised implied conditions also. You have been answering me. So good, well done. Now there is a descriptive question. Maheshwar, your descriptive questions have come up. Again, you have to answer me. This is again your revision time. Certain goods were sold by sample by A to B, who in turn sold it to C by sample. Now, this is very important question. It has in fact come twice in recent exams. In recent 2 years, if you'll see, I think June last year paper, and before that also this question was there. In September paper also, I think this was there. Who in turn sold it to goods sold by sample to D. Goods were not according to the sample. D found the deviation of the goods. What is the meaning of deviation? Deviate करना मतलब goods बासमती राइस सपोज मांगे थे, बट ये बासमती राइस नहीं, शॉर्ट ग्रेन्स है, कुछ और है, डिविएट कर रहा है, मतलब डिफरेंट है from the sample and rejected the goods and gave the notice to C. So C got angry. He filed a case against B and B sued A. Please advise what B and C can do under this act. First of all, tell me, can B reject the goods? This is very good. Everyone has said yes. On the basis of what? What breach has happened? You will say it is a breach of. How will you answer this? Let's take a small test. How are you going to answer this? So you're going to answer this in 3 different paragraphs. The first paragraph will be about concerned provision. So what is the provision related to? Yes, Harshvardhan, it is breach of contract, but what is the provision? Yes, Pavan Yadav, that is a good conclusion, but I'm asking, yes, Monu Kumar, ma'am, it is the implied condition as to sample. Very good, Harsh Gupta. Poonam. So you will write, as per the provisions of the Sale of Goods Act, this question deals with the implied condition as to sample. When the sale is made as per the sample and description, the goods must correspond to the respective sample. The Poonam, Meenu, they are not mentioning about the description. Here it is specifically talking about the sample. कि A ने B को sample दिखाया और उसने goods बेच दिए. Means the goods should correspond with the sample. Now, after that, you will give facts of the case. What is the meaning of facts of the case? Facts of the case means a small summary from the question itself. So you will make the question, you will make the summary, that is, yes, Amal Reshma, absolutely. What will be the summary? That the sample goods have been sold by A to B, who in turn sold it to C, and now C is selling to D and D is finding it incorrect. All right. Now, what is D doing? Since D did not find the goods corresponding to the sample, conclusion, analysis and conclusion. On the basis of above provision and facts of the case, we have analyzed that D is rejecting the goods because the goods do not correspond to the sample. So whenever there is a breach of implied condition as to sample, buyer has 2 rights. Number 1, he can reject the goods. Number 2, he can claim the refund of money. But can B and C also return the goods? Can they also file the case? Now, tell me the answer for this. I have told you how to answer the case study. Pavan Yadav, tell me, can B and C also file a case? Rushali says yes, as the goods are not matching with the sample. Meenu says yes. Sri Krishna says yes. But you can even say no because you have accepted the goods. Did you check the goods? There were 2 points in case of sample. The goods must correspond with the sample and the buyer should be given the right to inspect the goods. Very good, Amal Reshma. They cannot reject the goods because by selling it further, you have shown your acceptance for those goods. Yes, Sri Krishna, the goods are defected. You should have seen. No, Vivek Sharma, there are no latent defects in this. Here, there are no latent defects. Because B and C has the right to check the goods. Very good, Monu Kumar. If they have accepted, they can't sue. Farheen Sheikh, what are you asking? Yes, Ronak, if they have accepted, they cannot file a case. Everyone is clear on this. So very well, students. Many of you have really answered it very well. No, Pavan Yadav, your answer is absolutely wrong. What you have written, please listen carefully what I am telling. So if you have not listened carefully, you can see to the recorded class again. Very good, Amal Reshma. Thank you so much. Amal Reshma has written, ma'am, thanks for revision time. It has clarified the concepts more broadly. I wish that. Good. Now let's move to an important topic of today's class, that is implied warranties. Okay, let me see over here. Yes, Suman Mahato, excellent answers. C will only file, D will only file, better not C. And Maheshwar Peddy, very good. D will directly sue C. I hope, Mr. Maheshwar, now you are clear about how to write the case studies, but we will still do many more practice of the case studies. Whatever questions I'm showing you, keep clicking a picture of implied warranties. There are 4 types of implied warranties. Number 1, warranty as to undisturbed possession. What is the meaning of the word undisturbed possession? Undisturbed possession means when you are trying to disturb the possession of the goods. Means I have purchased this mobile phone from you. Let's assume I have purchased this mobile phone from Mr. C. Now I have made the payment. It was supposed for 25,000. I gave 25,000 to Mr. C and I become the owner of this mobile phone. Now suppose Mr. C comes to my house and he asks me, ma'am, can I get this phone? I want to use it again. So I said, okay, I have purchased it from you. You can take it. Next day again he comes and again borrows my phone back. Third day again he comes, again he's borrowing. What is he doing? He is disturbing my possession. I'm not able to freely own it. Is that correct? This is in a layman's language. What is the meaning of disturbing the possession? If you are not allowing the person to enjoy the ownership of the goods, you are bothering him, you're disturbing him. Possession means goods मेरी custody में आप बार बार ले जाते हो मांगकर. So I'm not able to enjoy completely my goods. So law says, remember the implied condition as to title. What was the meaning of condition as to title? Pavan Yadav, again you have started bothering in the class. You are again and again writing the same things. Don't disturb, beta. Okay? Yes, ownership. Very good, Sri Krishna, Harsh, Amal, Reshma. It is related to ownership. But what is that the answer to this? Yes, Meenu Dubey, right to sell. What is right to sell? You have to tell me what is the meaning of condition as to title. Children, you have to write the points. Thank you, Mr. Maheshwar, for writing that it's 100% clear now. I'm glad to know that. Good. Excellent. Condition as to title means that the seller is very good, Prabjot Kaur, where the seller is not the true owner. Okay? Where the seller is not true owner, then if the true owner comes to know about the goods, he will come and take the goods from the buyer and the buyer can file a suit against the seller. He can ask for the refund of the money from the seller. And please answer me yes or no. Is the buyer bound to return the goods to the true owner? Yes, absolutely correct. He can return the goods. Okay. All right. Very good, children. So you now have clearly understood that the true owner only have the right of the goods. If there is a breach of implied condition as to title, your ownership is disturbed, he will come and take the goods from you. Now, as the breach of condition has happened, similarly, a breach of warranty has also happened. Now, remember that Mr. A was enjoying with the tractor in his fields and Mr. C, the true owner, came and he took the tractor away. So do you think that his possession has also been disturbed? Breach of implied condition as to title to हुआ ही है, ownership to disturb हुई ही है. But have you disturbed his possession also? Yes, ma'am. So he can also claim the damages for this case. So if you'll see in the book, section 16, subsection 1 and second part is covered over here. So warranty as to undisturbed possession is also related to implied condition as to title. So here you can refund the goods also. You can ask for the refund of money also. Secondly, you can also claim the damages because your possession has been disturbed. Let's take another example. A purchased a second-hand typewriter which happened to be a stolen one. So again, pictures again clarify your concept in the mind. So this typewriter was a stolen one. So again, he has purchased a stolen one. Now he was typing and doing his work, the buyer, but the true owner came and he took the typewriter back. So his possession has been disturbed. He can also claim the damages for the same. What kind of damages, ma'am? If he would have spent certain money on repair of the typewriter or maybe on repair of the tractor, so that kind of damages he can claim as a breach of warranty. Now, the second point is warranty as to non-existence of encumbrances. What is the meaning of encumbrances? Encumbrances means certain charges on your goods. Certain charges on your goods. Remember the transaction of pledge that we did on day 1? that if I am giving my goods on pledge and I'm borrowing money, so can you say that my gold is free if I have given my gold to the bank and I have borrowed 1 lakh rupees? Now, who is holding the special property in those goods? Remember general property and special property. So bank is having a hold of special property on my gold. At the same time, Amal Reshma comes to me and asks me that, ma'am, I want to buy that gold from you. Can I sell the gold to Amal Reshma, which is already pledged with the banker? Very good, Vishali. I cannot. Sri Krishna, Meenu, excellent. Why? Why, Vivek, Monu Kumar? Why I cannot sell? Can you answer me? Because there is a, yes, it is work given as a security. There is a charge on it. Somebody is having a right on it. Somebody is exercising a lien on it. वो किसी के पास है. It is acting as a collateral security. So whenever you make a sale of goods, law says it should be free from encumbrances. अगर मैंने अपनी कार को गिरवी रखवाकर लोन लिया है, I have mortgaged my car and I have taken a loan against it, and now I sell this car to somebody else, then that somebody else, the buyer, can file a case against me because there are charges against this car. Or the second option, I can repay the loan, the charge will get free, then that person can get a free title. So basically, non-existence of encumbrances means that the goods should be free of any kind of charges. There should not be any loan taken against these goods. Very good, Vivek, because the goods are in bank's custody. Harshvardhan Chaudhary, excellent. All of you have answered it absolutely correct. Clear? The first 2 points are clear. Now let's move to the third point. Disclosure of dangerous nature of goods. Now this is very, very important. Lid of disinfectant powder to be opened with care. Have you ever noticed there are certain medicines or any care type of things in which it is written caution or keep it away from children? So dangerous nature has to be disclosed. There is a disinfectant powder that if you open the lid, it might go into your eyes. So it is the responsibility of the seller to disclose these facts. And if you don't disclose, then it is a breach of implied warranty. It is implied. It is clear when that you have to disclose it. Buyer will not ask you for this. कि ऐसा कुछ dangerous तो नहीं है. Ronak Jha, the meaning of encumbrances is charges. So there should be no charges. Free from encumbrances means free from charge. Okay. Yes, Amal Reshma, excellent, Sri Krishna. Seller has to mention it. It is assumed. Implied warranty means assume कर लिया जाएगा कि अगर ऐसा कुछ नहीं लिखा तो ऐसा कोई दिक्कत वाली बात. और अगर लिखा है तो buyer has to be aware while opening such kind of products. And next is usage of trade. Warranty as to quality or fitness or usage of trade. Quality and fitness you all understand. Shares purchased from a broker are expected to be free from bad deliveries. Means if the share market, if you're purchasing the shares, it should have been freely available for sale. It should not be in the custody of another person. Is that clear to everyone? And what is the meaning of quality and fitness? Again, the quality and fitness has the same meaning. That is, if you have if you are selling the goods, they should be corresponding to the same quality and fitness. Otherwise, you can also claim the damages for the same. Now, in previous year question papers, direct questions have come. Yes, Neha Hana, if it is free from the charges, then you can sell the goods. It is free from someone's control means the person should not be having any loan or a charge of the goods. Discuss the various types of warranties as per the Sale of Goods Act. So 4 marks question, if such kind of straightforward questions comes, you simply have to explain these 4 points. You will write the heading, you will explain, give examples, and you get 4 marks full. All right. Now let's move to the last topic of this chapter, that is caveat emptor. What is the meaning of caveat emptor? What is the meaning of doctrine of caveat emptor? Tell me, we have briefly discussed it in the previous class. Mr. Rajendra Kulkarni. Good answers. Let the buyer be aware. What is the meaning of this line? Let the buyer be aware. If you go to the supermarket to buy a packets of biscuits, will you check the expiry date, or the seller has to tell you that you have to check the expiry date? Bhajpreet Kaur, it always gives a good impression if you write the examples, but the way it is written in the study material, that way briefly you can explain that. Yes, Rushali, you can give examples and explain. That's good. We should check the expiry date. Excellent, all of you. He will not tell. कुछ खरीदने से पहले खुद चेक करना पड़ेगा. Good, Monu Kumar. Buyer has to be conscious. Neha, very nice. Harsh Gupta. All of you are correct. Reasonable opportunity. Very nice. He should be given the opportunity to check and buy the goods. But if these three conditions are there, seller business is to supply those goods, you're relying on seller skill and judgment, buyer has made known the purpose of purchase, then caveat emptor is applicable or not applicable? Tell me, if these three conditions are there, then caveat emptor is applicable or not applicable? Let me see how well your concept has got here. Harsh, correct. Amal Reshma, think carefully. Sri Krishna is also saying applicable. If these three conditions, yes, Chinmay, Pratha, very good. Now, since I have told you it's not applicable, so you'll answer it correctly. Very good, Monu Kumar. It depends upon the seller. Here you are, yes, Amal Reshma, not applicable. Good, Sabhyata. Everyone is now clear because you're having faith on the seller. Excellent, Harshvardhan. Meenu Dubey, very good. So, children, do you understand now? Yes, Suman and Maheshwar, your point is also correct. So if you are relying on the buyer seller skill and judgment, then your condition of implied quality and fitness will come into picture. So there are two things. Number one, the buyer should be aware. But if these three conditions are there, then implied condition as to quality and fitness will prevail. Seller will be held liable. If it is caveat emptor, then buyer will be held liable. So I've written it over here. Duties of the buyer is, it is the duty of the buyer. ये exam में पूछा जाता है, what is the duty of the buyer? So you should learn these points. It is the duty of the buyer to satisfy himself before buying the goods. So that is, the goods are according to the purpose for which they are needed. If they turn out to be defective or do not serve the purpose or depend on his own skill and judgment, then the buyer will hold the seller liable. अगर goods defective है, and do not, then the buyer cannot hold the seller liable because he has reviewed the goods. What is the duty of the buyer? Say, for example, you went to the market. Wait, let me guess, seller will be held liable in that case. You went to the market to purchase cloth. Now, while you're buying the cloth, okay, let's take the example of this color box. You went to buy the color box. Now, this box is closed. And you said that I just want to review whether the box can be opened and the colors are nicely in place. When you open, you found that some of the colors were broken. Will you buy this color box or not? Other colors are absolutely fine. Roshali says no. Meenu says no. Okay, koi to buy karega. Anybody says yes. Okay, suppose I have purchased. I still purchased it. I made the money. It was a 50 rupees box. I paid 50 rupees and I purchased it and got it home. My son told me, Mama, why have you purchased this? It's a broken color. Can now I go and return back it to the seller? Can I tell him that it's broken? I will not buy it. Whose fault it is? It is my fault. It is buyer's fault. I should have checked it before purchasing it. So here it is trying to explain you the duties of the buyer. बच्चा ये बहुत important है. Examiner आपको question पूछता है. What is the duty of the buyer? He will ask you this question. Where is that question? हाँ. Explain the duty of the buyer as well as the seller according to doctrine of caveat emptor. तो इस तरह का क्वेश्चन जो मैंने आपको last time दिखाया था मिस्टर दास का. So this was the first part of the question. So this is the meaning of that line, that is the duty of the buyer to satisfy himself. If anything turns out to be defective, he is relying on his own skill and judgment. He cannot hold the seller liable. Seller is not bound to disclose the defects. क्या कभी आपने देखे सेलर आपको बताएगा कि ये जो पेन आप खरीद रहे हो ये थोड़ा सा खराब है यहाँ से? कभी सेलर आपको बताएगा अपनी मिस्टेक? कभी भी नहीं बताएगा. He want to sell the goods. Why will he tell you the defects? So it is you as a buyer who has to be aware. ठीक है? Buyer has to satisfy himself for the goods. Very good. Everyone clear about the duties of the buyer? Now let the buyer be aware is the main meaning of caveat emptor. So what is the duty of the seller? Whatever 8 exceptions are given in the study material, that is the duty of the seller. Means seller has to make sure that the goods are as per the description. The goods should be as per the sample. As per sample and description, they should correspond to the quality and fitness that you have requested for. The goods which are purchased under patent or trade name, I told you if you are buying a Coke bottle and the Coke turns out to be defective, can you hold the seller responsible? Then that particular brand is responsible, not the seller. Goods should be merchantable. If there were white ants in the cloth and they could not be seen with the naked eye, then seller is liable or buyer is liable? Seller is liable on the basis of what? On the basis of merchantability issue. What will happen in the case of packaged foods after opening the foods are defective? Yes, Harshvardhan. If you have inspected the goods and you found the defect, then you will not buy the goods. Caveat emptor will be applicable. If you could not find the defect on reasonable examination, it was a latent defect, you find it later on opening the packets, definitely you can go and return the goods and you can sue the seller. But generally what happens when a packet of 10 rupees biscuit turns out to be defective or such small things of 50 rupees or 100, we generally avoid going back to the seller. But otherwise, you can use these provisions and you can ask him to return the goods. All right. Everyone clear? So these are the points of the exceptions to the rule of caveat emptor, which are known as the duties of seller. Now, there is a very interesting case law, Watts versus Hobbs. You must have done the similar case law in your Indian Contract Act. It says P bought certain pigs. So the picture of pigs I have pasted over here to make you memorize about the caveat emptor, how the sale of pigs is applicable in the rule of caveat emptor. B bought the pigs by auction. By auction means there was an auction sale being held and P has purchased certain pigs. Very soon, all the pigs fell sick and they died. Now here, there is no implied condition as to quality and fitness for any particular purpose. It was B's duty to find about the health of the pigs. Now children, when you are buying any animal, maybe a dog or pigs or anybody, won't you check the animal properly before buying it? Don't you think that B is responsible for this sickness of pigs? It is your responsibility to get it checked from a vet or maybe from someone so that he is sure if he's paying so much money for these pigs, they should be in good health. Now, if P remains silent, he did not check about the health of the goods and the pigs fell sick and died, who will be responsible? B, the buyer or the seller? All those who have written buyer, correct answer. Poonam is writing seller. No, Poonam, no, Harshvardhan. Why are you writing seller? All those who are writing seller, why have you written seller? Very good, Fareen and Sneha, Rishali, Nishtha, all of you are correct. Buyer. On the basis of what? Buyer will be held responsible on the basis of doctrine of, आप बताओ मुझे. On the basis of doctrine of caveat emptor. Clear? सबको समझ आ गया? No, Poonam, that is a different story if seller remained silent and he did not tell you. He did not ask him only. When did we say that he asked? If you can assume this, Poonam Punya, then it would be a different story altogether. Okay? Harshvardhan is saying, ma'am, because he knew that the pigs were sick and he did not inform the buyer. See, there can be two different perspectives to the story. If you're writing an assumption about the silence of the acceptance amounts to silence, buyer has asked him, he has inquired and he remains silent, then it will be altogether a different story. Here we are taking the thumb rule of caveat emptor where we are making it clear for the buyer to review it before buying. So this is the leading case law where it tells you that if you have not verified about the goods, it is your mistake, not the seller's mistake. सबको समझ आ गया? Yes, Rushali. So that's clear. It is buyer's duty to inspect it. That's why we have made the buyer only responsible for this. He cannot recover the damages. Now it's the time to do certain MCQs. Most of them we have done. Let me see if any. We have done this one also. Have we done the test your knowledge question number 8? Yes, ma'am or no, ma'am? I think we did this. Somebody saying yes, somebody saying no. Okay, quickly tell me the answer for the 8th one. It's an important one. If disclosure of fact has not been made, who will be held liable, seller or buyer? B is the correct option. So actually, who is liable? Buyer himself is liable because she has not informed about her skin condition. So she will be held liable. Test your knowledge question number 9. The doctrine of caveat emptor does not apply when the goods are bought by sample. When the goods are bought by sample and description, when the exact purpose is known to the seller and he is a regular dealer, all of the above. What are the cases when caveat emptor is not applicable? Somebody is saying C, somebody is saying B. Prabjot correct. Vivek Sharma correct. Pratha correct. Nishta is wrong. Chinmay is wrong. Why are you saying B? Why are you saying C? What is the meaning of B? A. When the goods are bought by sample, who is responsible if the goods do not correspond to the sample? Tell me. अगर मैंने बाय सैंपल खरीदे, मिस्टर दास ने या फिर ABCD ने जब गुड्स खरीदे थे सैंपल, अगर सैंपल नहीं ठीक होता है तो बायर रिस्पॉन्सिबल है या सेलर रिस्पॉन्सिबल? कौन रिस्पॉन्सिबल है? सेलर. चिन्मय सेज बायर. व्हाई डिड यू से बायर, चिन्मय? अगर आपने वॉलनट खाया एक शॉप में, सैंपल टेस्टिंग करा, बहुत टेस्टी था वॉलनट, आपने 5 kg वॉलनट पैक करा ली, जब आप घर गए आपने देखा वो वॉलनट्स मैच नहीं हो रहे. गुड स्नेहा, नाउ योर आंसर इज करेक्ट. वॉलनट मैच नहीं हुए तो किसकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, चिन्मय? सेलर की या आपकी? सेलर की. तो गुड्स अगर सैंपल के नहीं है तो सेलर की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है. सैंपल एंड डिस्क्रिप्शन नहीं है तो सेलर की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है. व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ थर्ड पॉइंट? हर्ष गुप्ता नाउ करेक्ट. When the exact purpose is made known to the seller and what does the third point relates to? Implied condition as to quality and fitness. Thank you, Vivek Sharma. Good. Excellent. It relates to quality and fitness. So quality and fitness अगर breach होती है तो किसकी गलती है, buyer की, seller की? Everybody has answered seller. So A में भी seller गलत है, B में भी seller गलत है, C में भी seller गलत है. कैवेट एम्प्टर में कौन गलत होता है? अगर हम कैवेट एम्प्टर अप्लाई करते हैं रूल तो किसकी गलती होती है? बायर की. तो किस केस में कैवेट एम्प्टर नहीं अप्लाई होगा? कैन वी से ABC? फिर सी. यस मैम. नाउ चिन्मयी सेड यस मैम. सो डी इज द करेक्ट ऑप्शन क्योंकि डी में लिखा है ABC तीनों. Understood? This is how you have to be. Children, why I do MCQs with you? Because after foundation, you will be going to CA intermediate. MCQs number 1 help you to give you conceptual clarity. आपको अच्छे से समझ आ जाता है कि जो आपने टॉपिक पढ़ा है उसका मीनिंग क्या था. Second thing, you have to apply these analytical skills when you go to CA intermediate also. You will be getting so many MCQs in your final exam, which you have to attempt in a very short period of time. So foundation book is so beautifully made. We have n number of MCQs in your module itself. After every chapter, after revising every chapter, मेरे साथ कर लिया, फिर learn कर लिया, revise कर लिया, उसके बाद sit with a pencil in hand and try to do all the MCQs by yourself. You will never fail in your exam. I can guarantee you on that. And even on the day, why I'm using the word pencil, after you have checked your work, just erase all the text that you have put. Day before the exam also, phadafat say, when you flip the pages, just put a circle so that you know that your concept is now clear. And all the descriptive questions which are given at the back of the module, proper writing practice has to be done. Write the answer in the same format that I have taught you. Concern provision, facts of the case, conclusion. 3 different paragraphs, 3 marks question, written correctly, you get 3 out of 3, I can tell you. But if you're not writing correct conclusion, if your provision is not matching, if it is not systematically done, 0 or maybe 1 mark. All right. So be very careful when you practice for these kind of things. Law is very, very easy and simple only if you do proper writing practice. Now try solving the 10th question. Rajkumar, Maheshwar, Rajendra, Suman, Anitha. I hope you have understood now the correct answer. Yes, for the 10th one, what is the correct answer? If the goods are sold by the sample, the goods should correspond. Otherwise, buyer can reject the goods. A is the correct option. Sri Krishna is saying buyer cannot reject the goods. Then Sri Krishna, what will you do with those goods if they're not as per the sample? You'll keep them to yourself. You'll not go and complain. Why you will not return? You have 2 options. The goods should be matching with the sample and you should be given the opportunity to inspect the goods. Both the things not done, go and return the goods. Those who are giving wrong answers means you have not revised your concept properly. Yes, Amal Reshma, A is the correct option, I told you. All right, now let's have a quick recap of the subtopic from study material also. Then we are going to start the new chapter today. So all these quality and fitness points we have done. Example 11, 12 was also done. If a person order motor horns from a manufacturer and the horns were scratched and damaged due to bad packing, can he return the goods? Why? Because the goods were not as per the description. Dealer is dealing in those goods. He is a supplier of those horns only. But why he is rejecting the goods? On the basis of breach of implied condition as to? Answer me. Merchantability. Excellent. Breach of implied condition as to merchantability. Good. Implied warranties we have done. This laptop example, this loan example. Number 17, everyone is clear? So caveat emptor, I just wanted to do this small case study with you. An order was placed for some trucks to be used for heavy traffic in hilly area. The truck supplied by the seller was not fit for this purpose and broken down. Here it is a breach of quality and fitness. So who will be held liable in example 20, seller or buyer? Very good. Excellent. Everybody has answered correctly. That is, seller will be held liable. Good. Yes, Maheshwar, I am looking to the answers that you people are giving. Shri, yes, Suman, Rajendra, Shaurya, all of you are giving the correct answers. Somebody is again writing wrong buyer. Okay. In Priest versus Land, I wanted to do this case study with you. What happened in this case study? A draper purchased a hot water bottle from the retail chemist. What is the meaning of hot water bottle? A bottle which is used for giving heat. Okay, a bottle in which boiling hot water is put in, and then you have to release the air from it, and you close the lid, and it is used for, if you have any kind of inflammation or something on your body parts, you can. No, it's not a flask. Yeah, it is a kind of a flask bottle, the rubber bottle, Rishma. So hot water bottle is generally used for giving like a heating pad. So he asked the chemist that it will stand boiling hot water, because in hot water bottle you have to put the boiling hot water. You don't have to put just the warm water. A boiling hot water is to be used. Chemist said yes. Told him that the bottle was meant to hold the hot water. उसने कहा हाँ जी bottle में hot water आता है. But the bottle bursted when the hot water was poured, and he injured his wife. Now what has happened over here? Has the buyer told him specifically the purpose for which the goods are required? Yes, the children on the portal. Has the buyer informed Rajendra, Suman, Maheshwar, Shaurya? क्या buyer ने बताया है goods किस purpose के लिए चाहिए थी? Yes, ma'am. He has clearly informed the seller the purpose for which the goods are required. Has he relied on the seller's skill and judgment? Is the seller the one dealing in such goods? Then, if still the bottle bursted, seller will be held liable because there has been breach of implied condition to quality and fitness. But where the article is used only for one particular purpose, buyer will not tell the seller the purpose for which the goods are required, but where it can be used for number of purposes, buyer should tell the purpose for which he required the goods. He wants to make the seller responsible. So here he has already told him for what purpose the goods were required. Therefore, he can claim the damages. Clear, everyone? So this we have already done patents and brand name description. ये सब same है. Caveat emptor के exceptions वही हैं जो आपने implied conditions पढ़ी. So rule of caveat emptor is not applicable if there are latent defects in the goods, if they're not merchantable. Sale by sample, description, trade usage. If ready-made garment business, there is an implied condition that the garments should be reasonably fit on the buyer. If you have been buying regularly medium size, then you know that medium size fits you well. So if there is any deviation, caveat emptor is not applicable, seller will be held liable. And the last point is where the seller actively conceals a defect or is guilty of fraud. Point number 8, read it very carefully and explain me in the chat box what are you trying to tell by this. Everyone is going to read point number 8 very carefully and explain. What kind of defects it is talking about? Yes, Nishtha. Seller is responsible. Why? He's talking about latent defects. I think you all are reading this point. Okay, take your time. Seller is misrepresenting. Sabhyata, Poonam. Intentionally misrepresents. Prabjot Kaur. Very good. Clear, everyone? There is an intention to do fraud. There is misrepresentation. Caveat emptor will not apply. Here, the buyer has the right to void the contract and he can also claim the damages. That's it. This chapter ends. I hope everyone is clear about chapter 2, conditions and warranties. Okay, do you want to take a small break right now, or you want me to start unit 3 and then want a break? Tell me. Take a break. Okay. So most of you have written, ma'am, need a break. So let's take a small break here. So we are going to take a break here and then we'll proceed further. Okay. All right, students, let's start with unit 3 now. Can you please explain the stipulation? Stipulation, Harshvardhan, in the previous class also I told you. In the point number 8, evident provision of fraud. Monu Kumar, yes, exactly, that's correct. In point number 8 that you're asking, caveat emptor will not be applicable, seller will be held liable. Yes, Harshvardhan, stipulation is a representation which you are making in order to make it clear the seller wants to sell the goods. He uses n number of good vocabulary and good things just to sell the goods which are there in his shop. And all these terms which he's using, whatever he's telling the buyer, the goods are very good, you should buy this water bottle, it's blue in color, lid is very nice, everything. Whatever words he's using, representations he's making is known as stipulation. Now, welcome to the new chapter, that is transfer of ownership and delivery of goods. What is the meaning of the word transfer of ownership? What is the meaning of the word transfer of ownership and delivery of goods? Means now is the day when I am the seller, I'm going to deliver the goods. This water bottle is the goods, which I'm going to deliver it to the buyer. And the moment the goods go from the seller to the buyer, who becomes the owner? Buyer becomes the owner. Man, this is so simple. Buyer becomes the owner. So who bears the risk? Who bears the risk? Buyer bears the risk. Very good. Since buyer now becomes the owner of the goods, so buyer is going to bear the risk. So this chapter revolves around who is the owner, and whosoever is the owner will be bearing the risk. Section 18 to 26 talks about passing of the property, how the goods are defined, specific goods, certain goods, uncertain goods. You have already done this in chapter 1, 3 categories and types of goods. In each type of good, when does the property in the goods passes? Remember, in case of future and contingent goods, it was always an agreement to sell and the property passes at a future date. But in 3 cases, that is existing goods. What are the 3 types of existing goods? Can anyone tell me? What were the 3 types of existing goods? Only one you have named, Meenu. You should name all. Amal Reshma also only named 2. Vivek Sharma, good. Sri Krishna is saying contingent goods. Existing goods are not contingent goods, child. Excellent. Sabhyata, Amal Reshma, Rushali, Sneha, all of you have told correct. All the goods which are specific, ascertained and unascertained are known as existing goods. How in case of these category of goods, the property passes, we are going to understand in this chapter. Then section 26 talks about risk prima facie passes with the property. Property means, what is the meaning of property? What is the meaning of the word property? Very good. Property means ownership, title means ownership. Both these words means ownership. So when the ownership passes, the risk also passes. Then section 27 to 30 are very, very interesting, which we're going to take up in next class. That is transfer of title. And section 31 to 44 deal with the performance of the contract of sale. Now, performance of contract, I hope you remember under Indian Contract Act, you have already discussed and had full-fledged chapter number 4, that is performance of contract. This section 31 to 44 is also similarly performance of contract in a sale of goods. How you're actually going to perform, how the delivery is going to be taken, what the modes of delivery, all those points will be taken up in the next class, section 31 to 44. In today's class, we will be doing passing of property and risk prima facie. So section 18 to 26 will be covered in today's session. So passing of property and then delivering of the goods and passing of risk. So first stage is ownership passed from the seller to the buyer. Then the goods are delivered. And once the goods have been delivered, the risk becomes of the buyer, not of the seller. Once the goods have been given, passing of property means passing of ownership. If the property is passed to the buyer, the risk in the goods sold is of the buyer, not of the seller. This whole chapter tells you, जब एक बार ही goods buyer के पास चले गए, तो risk का मतलब क्या होता है? What is the meaning of risk? Is it talking about mutual funds risk? What kind of risk are you talking about? Goods के spoil हो जाने का, goods के खराब हो जाने का. अगर goods खराब होते हैं, चोरी होते हैं, या कोई तोड़ देता है, या कोई ले जाता है, who is going to bear that loss? Who is going to bear that loss? Buyer. Goods get destroyed, damaged, anything happens, buyer will bear. Why buyer will bear? Because buyer is the owner. Very good. Very good. Everyone has written it correctly. So the first case is specific or certain goods. What are the specific goods? The goods which are identified and agreed at the time when the contract is made. Remember that dairy milk, Oreo chocolate, peanut butter flavor, a very specific good which we have decided at the time when the contract was made. That I want only this particular dairy milk chocolate. Now, what is the meaning of the word ascertained? I told you last time also the word ascertained is not defined in the act, but it is judicially interpreted. Means we try to understand it from the different meanings which have been given by law. When the large quantity of unascertain goods are there, and from that category we have identified and picked up the goods, it becomes ascertain goods. Let's take a very interesting example. Say, for example, there is a category of, there is a packet of 10 Maggie packets lying in my shop. You said, ma'am, I want to buy one Maggie packet. Now, this 10 Maggie packets are what kind of goods? Unascertain goods. I picked up one, this packet I'm going to pick up. I picked up this one packet and I have kept it aside. So this one packet becomes ascertain goods. This is the major difference between ascertained and unascertained. And once I have picked up and packed this packet for you, the delivery of goods is said to have happened when the goods are bought in the deliverable state. Say, for example, if you want to buy this particular red bicycle only, or this top load or front load washing machine, these are the specific goods which we have agreed at the time of contract of sale. But if out of the entire salt packets which are lying, or entire all these shutter stocks that is lying, you have picked up one goods, then it becomes ascertained. And if it is lying in a lot, it is unascertained. How does the property passes? Now we have to understand in all these categories how the property of the goods is passed. Once the parties intending to transfer it by the conduct of the parties or circumstances of the case. So in case of specific and ascertain goods, they are treating both these type of goods in the same way. They say whether it is a specific goods or it is unascertain, it is one and the same thing. So in both the cases, the property is passed by the conduct of the parties or circumstances of the case. Means whatever the parties will decide, if I have asked you to please deliver the television to my place, then the delivery will said to be happen when I have delivered the television at your residence, at your place. So whatever the parties have decided, accordingly, if I have purchased the packet of walnuts from the shop itself, then I have purchased it, I have made the payment, and the property passes immediately. So in case of specific and ascertain goods, whatever the parties have decided, the property passes according to that. So there are further 3 stages, whether the goods are in deliverable state, or they are yet to be put in deliverable state, or something still needs to be done. So in the first category, it says X buys a television and he requested for a home delivery of this television. Now, once you have purchased a television from the dealer and you have asked him for the home delivery, whose property does it becomes when you make the payment and you purchase the television? Whose property it becomes? Buyer's property immediately. Now there is an unconditional contract when the goods are in deliverable state. That is, the property passes to the buyer irrespective of the time and delivery is made. Now, whether the goods have actually reached your house or not, you have become the owner of the goods. Now the transporter is acting as the buyer's agent. You have to be very careful how the goods are coming to your place, because you are whole sole responsible for the goods once you have purchased it. This is for the goods which are already in deliverable state. What is the meaning of goods being in deliverable state? Can anyone tell me what is the meaning of this word? that the goods are in deliverable state. What does it mean? Means the goods are ready to be taken. The goods are ready to be taken. You can take the goods immediately. The goods are ready, and they can be taken home. All right. Once the goods are ready, then depending upon the intention of the parties, the property passes to the buyer. Sold but yet to be delivered. Very good. When the goods are ready to be used by the buyer. Excellent. Now, there is a second category when the goods need to be put in the deliverable stage. What is the meaning of this thing? There was a buyer, Mr. X, who buys the oil from his shop, and he said that I will come and take the oil, but they need to be put in the casks by the seller. Casks means ऐसे से बड़े बड़े drums थे जिसमें seller को oil डालकर पैक करके ready रखना. क्या goods deliverable state में हैं अभी? No, ma'am. क्या कुछ ऐसा करने की जरूरत है जिससे गुड्स डिलीवरेबल स्टेज में आएंगे? यस मैम. The goods will come to the deliverable state once you have purchased the oil. Seller has poured the oil in different casks. He had packed them. Packing, polishing, all these kind of things needs to be done. Then the contract will set to be complete. Once he has done all the packing, polishing and putting them in the containers, now the goods are in the deliverable state. Property passes to the buyer when you inform him. जब ये सब कर देगा वो buyer को inform करेगा that the goods are ready, please come and take its delivery. Then the property passes immediately. Once the buyer has the notice of it, तब मान लिया जाएगा कि अब ये goods deliver हो गए. Now, if the buyer makes a delay in coming and collecting the goods, who will be responsible for any loss? If I've packed your goods, they are ready for to be taken by the delivery by the buyer, but still the buyer has not come and the goods get destroyed, who will be responsible? Buyer or seller? Absolutely correct. Buyer is responsible in that case. Very good. Now, this third category is a stage when the seller has to do something to put in a deliverable stage. Can you see a beautiful carpet which is laid down in the drawing room, in the sitting room of the office area? So A sold carpets to the company. There was a company which wanted that the carpets should be laid in my office area in different reception areas and other areas. So he went to Mr. A and he said that, why don't you come and you make carpets for us, and they have to be laid. They have to be laid means carpets ko bishana hai. So A has bought all the carpets, but before they could lay it down, before they could spread it in the rooms, they got stolen. Whose responsibility was it to take care of the carpets? Buyers or seller? Whose property it is? Seller's responsibility. Roshali, wrong. Yes. Harsh is also saying buyer. No, no, no. Listen carefully, children. मैंने आपसे कहा कि मैं आपके कार्पेट्स बनाकर लाऊंगी एंड उन्हें डिलीवरेबल स्टेट में तभी लाया जाएगा जब मैं उन्हें स्प्रेड करूं. क्या मैंने कार्पेट स्प्रेड कर दी है अभी? Yes, ma'am or no, ma'am? Have I spread the carpets? Before the carpets were laid, they got stolen. Very good. No, ma'am. So that means goods have not come in deliverable state. And now, if the goods have got stolen, whose responsibility was it? Yes, Monu Kumar, property will pass only when the seller has done. Yes, now you all are correct. So it is seller's responsibility. Let's read it. It says, in case of specific goods, but the seller is bound to weigh, measure, or do something for ascertaining the price, then the property passes to the buyer only when it is done and the buyer has notice of it. Say, for example, a vegetable vendor has come outside and your mother asks you, go and buy 10 kgs of tomatoes. Now, while you're buying 10 kgs of tomatoes, won't you ask the vegetable vendor to weigh it? ऐसे थोड़ा ना उठाकर दे देगा आपको टमाटर, उनका weighing करेगा ना, weighing, measuring होगा. So when does the property passes to you? Only when all the weighing, measuring, packing is done. He will fold it, put it in a bag, give it to you. Now the goods are in deliverable state. Now you're bound to pay the price for it. Similarly, in this very example, the carpets were to be laid down. Something needs to be done. After spreading the carpets, they decided that we will determine the price. So in the third categories, it says where something needs to be done in order to determine the price of the goods, then the property will be passed. Once these things have been done, and buyer has been informed about it. Buyer has if you'll not tell the buyer, he will never come to know about it, right? So you have to tell the buyer that the work has been done. Even in the second case, once the goods are put in the casks, you will have to tell the buyer. You'll call him, you'll ask him to come and take the delivery. But in the first category, goods are readily available. You just have to get them picked and take it. So property passes immediately. Second case, inform the buyer. Third case, do that weighing, measuring, packing, polishing, everything, and the buyer has been informed. Then it is a third category. Is that clear? Let's take the examples from the module also. Anyone having any doubts still here? Clear, everyone? Okay, let's open it up from the module. Passing of property, delivering of the goods, and passing of risk. This is the chapter all about importance of the time of transfer. The property passes section 18 to 26. It depends upon whether the goods have been identified and what are the intention of the parties, conduct of the parties have to be decided. Primary rule, we are talking about these rule. First category, we are talking about specific and certain goods. So specific and certain goods have three different stages. When the goods are in deliverable state, what example we have taken? Television, property passes immediately. Second, putting the casks, oil in the cask, and property passes when the buyer is informed. Third case, when you have to find out the price of the goods, buyer has the notice of it, things have been done, then the property passes. So he goes to a shop, buys a television, asks the shopkeeper for home delivery. He agrees to do his television, immediately becomes the property of X, who is the buyer. Peter buys a laptop from electronic stores and asks for home delivery. Shopkeeper agrees. Laptop does not have Windows operating system installed. Means something needs to be done. So only when he have installed the system, call Peter before making the delivery. Property passes only after the shopkeeper has installed and he has intimated the buyer. And what is the third category that we have just recently done from the module also? Now let's discuss about the uncertain good. How does the property, ma'am, Dr. N.V. Ravi, if we can remove that person from the uncertain goods. When there is a contract for the sale of uncertain goods, the property is transferred to the buyer unless and until the goods are asserted. So what happens in case of uncertain goods? The goods needs to be made ascertain first, and the goods should be of description in deliverable state, and the delivery to carrier has to be made for transmission. Now, there are two different points that you have to understand in case of uncertain goods. Sale of uncertain goods by description and appropriation. Now, 6 marks ka kai bari question aata hai, how will you sell the uncertain goods? Let's take a very, very interesting example. Have you ever been to a supermarket? Because I can see many students are falling asleep. Let's try to put some energy in the class and let's try to wake you up. Yes, Poonam Punya, have you all ever been to supermarket with your mothers or fathers or parents or siblings and you enjoy roaming with that basket and picking up the goods from different counters? How many of you enjoy doing it? Tell me. Picking up chocolates and chips, and mothers generally tell us, no, 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 alone I enjoy, Sri Krishna says. Okay. Ronak says, yes, I pick up all these things. So whenever we pick up these things, generally our parents tell us, no, 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 don't pick up these biscuits, don't pick up these chocolates. Matlab, I have always enjoyed it as a kid, picking up things from the supermarket. So I'm sure you also enjoy. Now, what are the goods which are lying in this supermarket? All the goods which are lying, just imagine all the biscuits, chips, you are roaming in a supermarket. These are uncertain goods which are lying in bulk and very good. Everyone has answered it correctly, which are lying in bulk and lots are uncertain. The moments you have picked up and put the goods in your basket, you have appropriated the goods. Means aapne goods ko select kar liya. That is the meaning of appropriation of goods. Now, when you go to the counter and you pay for them, then the payment is made and now you become the owner of the goods. That is how you will appropriate the goods. So appropriation of goods means when in the supermarket you're purchasing the goods, you're either the buyer appropriates himself or you went to the seller and you said, I want 5 packets of Surf Excel. I cannot find it, ma'am, where it is. So he takes you somewhere else and seller picks it up and gives it to you. Seller has appropriated the goods. So how does the appropriation happens? It says whenever there is a sale of uncertain goods, then in case of appropriation of goods means selecting the goods for the usage of the goods. So you are going to select the goods for the mutual consent. Buyer and seller का mutual consent होगा and इसके base पे selection हो जाएगी goods की. Number 1, the sale is always for unascertained or future goods. Future goods भी हो सकते हैं जो अभी आए नहीं है, आने हैं. The goods shall conform to the description and quality which is stated in the contract. आपने बोला है मुझे डाइजेस्टिव बिस्किट्स न्यूट्री चॉइस के चाहिए, तो वो आपको मैक्विटीज के नहीं दे सकता. Do you know न्यूट्री चॉइस digestive biscuits are the same? Nutri choice biscuits are same and McVitie's biscuits are different. Okay. So now if you have asked for a specific description, then he should pick up those goods only. The goods should be in deliverable state. Goods को deliver करा जा सकता है. Unconditional appropriation, either by delivery to the buyer or his agent or the carrier. So now this is very, very interesting point. This D point, children, I will explain you in section 23 subsection 2. अभी वाला पॉइंट सिर्फ ये समझ लो कि हमने गुड्स कैरियर को दे दिया. अनकंडीशनल एप्रोप्रिएशन मींस यहाँ पे लिख लो नो कंडीशन इज अटैच्ड. राइट इट डाउन ओवर हियर इन ब्रैकेट. नो कंडीशन इज अटैच्ड इन दिस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. ठीक है, मैं एक्सप्लेन करूंगी अभी. 4th पॉइंट, नो कंडीशन इज अटैच्ड. 5th पॉइंट, एप्रोप्रिएशन इज डन बाय द सेलर विद द असेंट ऑफ बायर. अभी मैंने आपको बताया सेलर ने सर्फ एक्सेल के पैकेट्स उठाए या फिर बायर ने खुद उठाए विद द एक्सेप्टेंस ऑफ द सेलर. Assent may be expressed or implied. Expressed means by word spoken, you said, I want 5 packets of Surf Excel. Implied means by your actions, you were roaming with the trolley, you picked up the packets and you put it up in your basket. Assent का मतलब होता है acceptance. It can be given either before appropriating or after appropriating. या तो आपने goods उठाकर बोल दिया कि मुझे ये लेने हैं या फिर पहले ही बता दिया कि मुझे ये वाले goods चाहिए, आप मुझे दे दीजिए. So either before appropriation or after appropriation. So very simple, but just the law language we have to learn. Let's make it more simpler. 6 marks question comes. What is the meaning of appropriation of goods? My children will write the definition. Ma'am, appropriation basically means selecting the goods with the mutual consent of buyer and seller. 6 essential elements, 7 essential elements should be present in it. It is a sale of uncertain goods or future goods. Goods should be according to the description and qualities. Deliverable state में होने चाहिए. Unconditional appropriation होनी चाहिए. Appropriation can be made either by the seller or by the buyer. Assent can be expressed or implied, and the assent can be given either before or after the appropriation. Clear in 7 points? Now let's understand a very twisting point in this, that is section 23 subsection 2. It says where the seller deliver the goods to the buyer or to carrier. Carrier कौन होता है बच्चों? Who is a carrier? What is the meaning of carrier? Transporter, जिसने goods लेकर जाने हैं. Transporter who is going to take the goods, who is going to deliver the goods from the seller to the buyer. Now, if you have appropriated the goods and you have given to the carrier or any other bailee, whether named by the buyer or not, for purpose of transmitting it to the buyer, and underline the word with a highlighter, does not reserve the right to disposal. Does not reserve the right to disposal, then he has unconditionally appropriated the goods to the contract. Let's first understand with the help of a story. Remember when I taught you about document of title to goods? We were sending the goods from Delhi to Pune. We were sending it by railway. 4 railway receipts were made. I am A, the seller. You are B, the buyer. Original receipt is sent to Mr. B. 1 is given to the transporter. 1 is with A himself. 4th one is given for the accounting department. Now, I am the seller who has handed over to the transport authorities. These are my goods. Please go and deliver it to Mr. B. What have I done? Have I given the goods to the transporter? Yes, ma'am. Can we call the transporter the courier? Courier मतलब जो लेकर जाएगा, जो सामान आपका लेकर जा रहा है एक जगह से दूसरी जगह. For the purpose of transmitting the goods, transmitting means transporting the goods. So please check from your module. First condition is satisfied. I have given the goods to the courier or buyer. या तो buyer को ही दे दिए या फिर उसके किसी agent को दे दी. For transmitting it to the buyer. Now, how this buyer or courier or agent is going to act? He's acting as a bailee. What is the meaning of bailee? Tell me. Bailment पढ़ा है आपने, मेरे साथ भी कर चुके हैं 2-3 बारी. What is the meaning of bailee? Who is holding the goods on behalf of buyer? Very good, Harshvardhan. Who is going to take care of the goods? Excellent. Acting as a bailee means his goods are in his custody. Excellent. He has to return the goods. He has to give it to the buyer. Goods sent after accomplishment of act. Meenu Dubey, what are you writing? Who sold the goods, hold the goods on behalf of the bailer? Very good, excellent. So, bailee means a person who has to take care of the goods in the same way as he would have been taking care of his own goods. Now, let's assume in that railway fire occurs. And this transporter will take care of all the goods. Can he say that these are Harleen ma'am's goods? I will throw them out of the railway. We will not take care of this. We will just take care of other goods. He's acting as a bailee of buyer's agent, not even as a seller's agent. He's taking care as a buyer's agent. He should take a reasonable care of the goods which are lying in his transportation. But if the goods get destroyed, he's not able to save them. Who will be held liable? Buyer or seller? Think very carefully and then answer. I have delivered the goods to the bailee, to the carrier for taking the goods to the buyer. He is acting as buyer's agent, as buyer's bailee for transporting the goods. Who will be held liable? Buyer will be held liable. Somebody saying some carrier will be held. Beta Sneha, carrier के तो goods थे ही नहीं ना. Why will you hold him liable? Natural calamity है, उसकी तो कोई गलती नहीं है. He is buyer's bailee. Very good, Poonam. Excellent, Shri Krishna. Excellent, Bhajpreet, Prabjot, Amal Reshma, Krishan J, Poonam, Harsh, both the Harsh. Very good. To whom the goods have been transferred? It is buyer who will be responsible. And let me see the students and the portal also. What about the students at the portal? You're not answering, children. What happened? Yes, now I'm getting. Seller will be responsible. Maheshwar, no, wrong. Buyer is responsible. Shri S, correct. Yes, Maheshwar, now you're correct. Buyer is responsible. Good. So buyer will be held responsible. Now, why buyer is held responsible? Don't you think the curiosity why buyer? अभी तो मेरे पास गुड्स आए भी नहीं है और आपने मुझे रिस्पॉन्सिबल ठहरा दिया. आपके मन में नहीं आया ये थॉट? मेरे मन में तो बहुत आता था जब मैं पढ़ती थी. Documents have been passed. Oh my God, look at this intelligent girl, Meenu Dubey. Very good. I hope whosoever is Meenu Dubey, very nice. He's Bailey, Sri Krishna, Poonam, Harsh Gupta. Excellent, because he has become the owner. Very nice, children. Because you have given the document of title to goods, आपने तो ownership दे दी है. So whosoever is the owner, ma'am, you only told us whosoever is the owner will bear the risk. Now, even if the goods have not reached your destination, you are held liable because you are the owner of the goods. You means buyer is the owner of the goods. And the line which I've highlighted, can you see? I have selected a line over here. What does it read? Does not reserve the right to disposal. Means मैंने कोई condition नहीं लगाई. अगर मैं सेलर हूं और मैं कंडीशन लगा देती कि जब तक मेरी पेमेंट नहीं होगी ये गुड्स मेरे हैं, I am reserving the right. I have not reserved any right. Right to disposal means goods को किस तरह से dispose करना है, किस तरह से use करना है, उसका right मैंने reserve नहीं करा. Means I have freely transferred the goods to the transporter. So that means I've done unconditional appropriation. Now buyer is held responsible, not the seller. Okay, example number 4. A bill of lading of railway parcel is made out in the name of buyer and is sent to him. Ownership in the good passes from the seller to the buyer. In case the goods are subjected to accidental loss or by theft, seller will not be liable. Why? Because it is an accidental loss or theft and he will not be held liable. Yes, Harshvardhan, credit sale is a different case. There you will tell him that the payment is still pending. Okay? There you cannot hold the buyer liable. If transfer of documents is not made, Sri Krishna, then the seller will be held responsible. That is section number 25. When we do that point, there we will understand. Amal Reshma, let's do example number 5 and 6, then it will be clear, okay? A bill of lading means, again, a document of title to goods has been given. Then section 23, subsection 2 is applicable. That means delivery of goods have been made. Now, the buyer is held responsible. Let's read example number 5. M. M is a buyer. He places an order for the book with a bookseller in Mumbai. He asked him to send the book by courier. Payment of the book was to be made by check. Seller sends the book by courier. The book is lost on the way. Now, who will be held responsible in this case? Who will be held responsible? Sir, if we can just remove Mr. Sohail S from the class. All right. Who will be held responsible? Buyer will be held responsible. Why? The reason being the goods have been transported. There is an unconditional. Now the book is lost in the way. The seller wants the buyer to bear the loss. Because it is an unconditional appropriation, because of which the buyer has become the owner of the goods, therefore he will bear the risk of loss. If you'll compare it with the old study material, these lines were not there. We have specifically included it to make it give you a clear picture now that this is how you have to apply the principle of section 23 subsection 2. All those who ask us, ma'am, why the buyer is held liable? Because there is an unconditional appropriation. Buyer has become the owner. Once you become the owner, you bear the risk of the loss of goods. Is that clear? Example number 5. Now everyone is clear about that. Sir, I think let's not admit more students. The students who are already there are the genuine ones. Let them be in the waiting room. Yeah. All right. Goods sent on everyone is clear, section 23, subsection 2. Now let's do goods sent on approval on sale or return basis, which is very, very interesting, section number 24. Let me open my module also, my presentation. Unascertained goods, this is what we have done. So if there are 10 Maruti cars and I want to buy one specific car, it is the sale of specific goods. If there are 10 Maruti cars lying, what are the 10 Maruti cars? Unascertained goods. I have picked up one and specified it is ascertained. Very good. 1,000 quintals of potatoes to be grown, future goods, contingent goods. How are the future and contingent goods sale made? The same way, unascertained goods. Okay? It is made in the same way. See, sale of unascertained and future goods is the same. By description, they are sold. These are the 6 points. When the goods are given to the by courier, if you are delivering, seller deliver the goods to the buyer or any other bailee and he is not reserving the right to disposal, then any accidental loss happens, seller will not be held liable. All right. Now, this is your May and November 2018, and even recently, twice this question has come, the provisions relating to sale of unascertained goods and its appropriation. What will you write? Quickly tell me in the chat box. Let me see how well you remember. Yes, Poonam, no, not to worry. Even if he has not made the payment, when you will do section 25 with me, then the picture will get more clear. Okay? Yes. Let me see how many of you remember the 6 points. Selection of goods. Very good. Section 18. Amal Reshma, sections are not compulsory. Only Meenu Dubey has written the definition of appropriation of goods. Okay. Who else is giving me the answer for this question? How will you appropriate the goods? Yes, all the essential elements have to be written, child. Yes, Rushani, 7 essentials. At least write 2, 3 of them. Let me see how much have you remembered. Very good. Quality and fitness, yes, that's great. Concerned provisions, facts of the case. Why are you writing concerned provisions, Shri Krishna? That is for the case study question, okay? Vivek Sharma, good. All of you have given the correct answers. That's great. All right, now let's move to a very, very interesting topic, that is section 24. When the goods are sent on approval for sale or return basis, how does the passing of property happens? First of all, what is the meaning of sending the goods on approval or sale or return basis? Means I am not sure of buying the goods, but I am making the purchase on approval or return basis. Means I will see the goods, I will keep them for my verification, and if I like the goods, I'll purchase it. Otherwise, I'm not going to purchase it. This is known as sale by approval or return basis. Now here, in the 3 cases, the property passes to the buyer. Number 1, when he signifies his approval or acceptance. Now I have purchased few water bottles and I said that these ProBot water bottles, I'm buying it. I'm taking it as a sample. I'll be taking 10 water bottles. And if we see that we like them, then we will buy it. Otherwise, we will return this water bottle. So when will the property pass? When will the ownership? When do I get the ownership of these water bottles? Number 1, when he signifies his approval, means हिंदी में इसका मतलब है जब मैं अपना अप्रूवल दे दूंगी, एक्सेप्टेंस दे दूंगी कि yes, I'm ready to buy. Signify करना means बताना, means to tell him. So when I will give my approval or acceptance, I become the owner. If I retain the goods without giving the notice of rejection, अगर मैंने goods, suppose मेरे को 10 days का time दिया था, I have kept it for 11 days. Without giving the, I have not even rejected the goods, and now I've kept the goods with myself more than the period that has been given. So I've retained the goods without giving any notice of rejection. I become the owner of the goods. If you have done something to the goods which is equivalent to acceptance, now I have got these 10 water bottles on sale on approval and return basis. I sold one of them. What am I doing? Don't you think, children, I'm showing my acceptance? एक water bottle बेच रही हूँ उसमें से. That means I am considering myself as the owner of the goods. So if I have done something which is equivalent to acceptance, that is how I have shown the acceptance to these kind of goods. So there are 3 ways. One by one, we're going to learn all these 3 ways. First of all, goods sent on approval or return basis means once the buyer is going to check the goods, if he finds, then only he will pay. Otherwise, he can even refuse to take the goods. Now, number 1 case, when he signifies his approval. P bought the musical instrument on the condition that if he will purchase only if he likes it. So can you see this beautiful guitar that P is going to buy it? Now he has taken it on sale on approval and return basis. And he tells him that I'm going to buy it only if I like it. Otherwise, I'm going to return these goods. So can we say this is sale on approval and return basis? If after 5 days he says, yes, I want to buy it, then who becomes the owner? If he signifies his assent, he gives his approval, then yes, ma'am, P will become the owner. Buyer becomes the owner. Very good. If he has bought it for 1 week's time period and fails to return in 1 week, एक हफ्ते के लिए लिया था सेल ऑन रिटर्न बेसिस के लिए, अब 2 हफ्ते से मेरे पास ही पड़ा. So क्या मैं ओनर बन जाऊंगी? Will the buyer become the owner? Yes, ma'am or no? Yes, ma'am. Buyer becomes the owner. Good. Now, does something which is equivalent to acceptance. I have taken this on sale and approval and return basis for 1 week's time. And within a week's time, and I go and use this guitar in an event. So Mr. P ne kya kara? He was a guitarist and he used to play in a band with different restaurants. He was invited for some restaurant event. He went with his guitar and he played this guitar in an event. Can he do this? First, tell me that. Was he the owner of the goods? No, ma'am, he was not the owner. But now, since he has done, yes, Ronak, it is exactly the same. So many chapters you have the reference in accounts also, some certain kind of topics. And even you will see in Companies Act, shares, debentures, so many common things we will be talking about holding and subsidiary, which will be part of your accounting syllabus also. He becomes the owner. He has used it. Very good. He becomes the owner because he has used these goods. So once you use these goods, you become the owner of the goods. He has done something to show that he is using the goods. Is that clear in 3 cases? Everybody is clear in these 3 cases. But there is one 4th category, sale for cash only or return basis. If I have told you that I will sell you the goods, but only when you will pay the cash, you become the owner of the goods. Now here I am reserving my right to disposal. Here I am not freely selling the goods. I am not giving you the document of title to goods. I have imposed a condition of cash over here. Here the goods will remain property of the seller till the condition is fulfilled, that is cash is paid for. Now, if it is sale for cash only or return basis, who remains the owner, buyer or seller? Seller remains the owner. Very good. Excellent. And when the cash gets paid, who becomes the owner? Okay, Amal Reshma. When yes, buyer is correct answer that you're giving. We'll do an example from the module also. Don't worry. Clear, everyone? Okay, let me complete this point from here and then we'll take it. Reservation of right to disposal, section number 25 says, can you see this truck which is loaded with goods? Now, X sends the furniture to the company by truck and he's instructing the truck driver not to deliver the goods until the payment is made by the company. What is the seller trying to do? Mr. X is a seller. He's sending the furniture by the truck and he has given instructions to the driver not to deliver the goods until the payment is made. Don't you think he's trying to reserve the right? आपको नहीं लगता कि वो right रख रहा है goods के ऊपर अपना हक रखना चाहता है? Now the property will pass to the buyer only when the payment is made. This is known as conditional appropriation of goods. Here I have specifically imposed a condition. Yes, cash is the condition. Excellent, those who have written. Here I have imposed the condition that जब तक मेरी payment नहीं हो जाती. Unconditional appropriation में I am not imposing any condition. It is an unconditional, does not reserve the right to disposal until the conditions are fulfilled, like payment of price. So payment of price की condition अगर मैंने लगा दी, फिर वो conditional appropriation हो जाएगी. Otherwise, it is an unconditional appropriation which is given under section 23 subsection 2. And conditional appropriation of goods is given under which section, children? Conditional appropriation of goods is given under section number 25, where it has specifically written, underline this point on the page number 3.53, the last line. Section 25 deals with the conditional appropriation of goods. Section 23, subsection 2 deals with the unconditional appropriation of goods. Let's understand it completely. First, let's complete sale on approval and return. This is what we have done. Example number 6 we have done from my presentation. Example number 7 and 8 are very, very interesting. First, let's complete example 7 and 8, which relates to sale on approval and return basis. A delivered the jewelry to B on sale or return basis. What happens in case of sale and return basis? When do you become the owner? Fatafatse write the 3 points in the chat box. When do you become the owner? When buyer gives his assent, when he has kept the goods beyond the time period and has not given the notice of rejection, or the buyer does something which amounts to equivalent to acceptance. I know we have just done the concept, you have just understood. It becomes very difficult for you to write the entire thing because you have not learned it. But when I'm asking you these questions, that is for a revision. That means after the class, every child is going to sit with their law notebooks, registers, and you are beautifully going to make your own handwritten notes. Let me tell you, children, जितना आप लिखित में practice करेंगे, the more and more you're going to do the practice in writing of law, the more and more you get much clearer in your concepts and your speeding habits, writing habits. Many a time a child does not clear the exam because his speed is not much, Everything, once you have learned the things, it all comes into writing. So if you're not writing the paper well, then also the things are not working good in the exam. So writing practice is must. And I feel so proud to tell all of you that whenever our children tell them they do writing practice and they come and tell us that, ma'am, because of the writing practice, I could perform so well in my exam also. So please try to make your own handwritten notes, which are very, very important from the study material itself you can make. Now, example number 7. So A delivered the goods on sale on return basis. B pledged the goods with C. What is the meaning of this line? He has done something. He has done something. Has he shown the acceptance? Yes, ma'am. He falls under third category of section 24. That is, he has done something by which he is showing the acceptance to the goods. Ownership of the goods get transferred because he has adopted the transaction by pledging the goods. Here, the seller will have no right against C. He can only recover the price of jewelry. So that means B has tried to act as the owner of the goods. He is pledging it further. Now he's acting as the owner. He has fallen under third category. Therefore, since he has become the owner, he is bound to pay the price of the jewelry to Mr. A. Same way, A sends a motor car, water motor on approval on return basis. B was to return it on August 2020, but he did not return within reasonable time. Can we say he becomes the owner? Yes, ma'am. Now he becomes the owner and he must pay the price for the goods. Any doubts in example number 7 and 8? The students at the portal also, any doubt? Good, Maheshwar, Shri S, all those who are giving good answers. Okay. Now in example number 9, children, A delivered the jewelry to B for sale on cash only and return basis. It was given in the contract that the jewelry will remain A's property until the price is paid. यहाँ पे उसने एक condition लगा दी कि वो मेरी property रहेगा जब तक price नहीं pay. Before paying the price, B pledged the jewelry with C. At the time of pledge, was the ownership passed? He said the ownership was not passed. Therefore, this pledge is not valid and A can recover the jewelry from C. In example number 7, we have done, he cannot recover the jewelry, he can only recover the price from B. And in example number 9, he is saying he can recover the jewelry from C. I give you 2 minutes, analyze example 7 and example 9 and tell me what is the difference. Everyone has to read it and answer. Very good, Poonam. So why do you say in example 9 he has not become the owner? What was the main context? Example 7, he becomes the owner. Very good, Sri Krishna. It is expressly provided. Excellent, Prabjot. It is for sale of cash. It is for sale on return basis. Monu Kumar, Amal Reshma. So many students. Yes, Miss Sri, yes, and Maheshwar. Please tell the answers. Rajendra, why there is a difference? Very good, Harshvardhan, because in example 7, there was no condition, and example number 9, there is a condition. So when there is a condition, that means you have reserved the right to disposal. Amal Reshma has written, ma'am, you're actually making the class energetic. Thanks a lot. I'm so happy to read this, Amal Reshma. And this thing makes me feel proud that my students enjoy the class. That's really nice. All right. Any doubts in example number 7 and 9 now? Clear? Everyone is clear for that? Okay, good, Rashali. Okay. Now, section number 25, that is reservation of right to disposal of the goods. Now, this section 25 is similar to what we have read over here for sale or cash only. So, when there is a condition for cash, then also I'm reserving the right to disposal. So, this section reserves the right to disposal means when the price is not paid, property will not pass to the buyer. Whenever there is a contract for specific goods or the goods have been appropriated, as the case may be, the right to disposal will be there until certain conditions are fulfilled. So, what are the circumstances? There are two cases in which we can apply this principle. Number one, if the goods are shipped or delivered to the railway administration for carriage or by bill of lading, the goods are delivered to the order of the seller or agent, then there is a prima facie thing that you're reserving the right to disposal. It is saying when you are shipping the goods or you're using a document of title to goods, but there is certain times you're using a bill of lading. Okay, when a bill is drawn on the buyer for the price. You know what is a negotiable instrument, children? Tell me what is the meaning of a negotiable instrument? A bill of exchange, a check, or a promissory note. That is what is a negotiable instrument which is used for making the payment. It is a kind of an instrument by which you make the payment. You will be doing the full-fledged chapter also on negotiable instrument. Now, what is the meaning of bill of exchange? When a bill is drawn on the when a buyer says that I will not pay you the money, I'm drawing a bill of exchange. So, say for example, the seller went to the bank and he showed him the bill of 10,000 and this bill got dishonored. Or let's take the example of check. I think you all understand the meaning of check. So, एक seller है A, उसने good sell करे B को and B ने payment करी check से. उसने 10,000 का check दे. अब seller क्या करेगा? Seller will go to the bank to show this check so that 10,000 can be credited to his bank account. But the check got dishonored. What is the meaning of dishonored? Means there was no money on due date when he went for the honoring of the check. There was no money in B's bank account. He has not paid the money. So there is a, what are you writing? Yes, no money. Good answers, everyone, because there was no money in B's account. So the check got dishonored. Now, don't you think that the seller has a risk in this? When I get payments by bills or promissory notes or checks, payments are being made by that, then me as a seller, I always have a risk that payment might not come to me. So in order to cover that risk, I'm using my right to disposal of the goods. So there can be two basic conditions where cash is the condition which has to be seen. Second can be where the payments are being made by bill of exchange or promissory note or by negotiable instruments. Then he reserves the right to disposal so that the property does not pass to the buyer unless and until the payment has been made. Okay, section 26 we will do in the next class because I want you to do certain MCQs now. So I hope you have understood section 23 subsection 2 and section 25 clearly, all of you. Excellent answers given by all of you. All right, let's do the quiz time now. Question number 1. Read it and give the answers. Property in the goods means ownership or possession or both. Property in the goods specifically means ownership. Very good. Sanjana, nice answer. Everybody has given the correct answer, ownership. So first question, A is the correct answer. Who will bear the risk? The party that has the custody of goods, or the one who has the possession of goods, or the one who has the ownership of goods, or all of the above? Who bears the risk of loss of the goods? Who will bear the risk? Which party? Excellent. B is the correct answer. The party which has the ownership of the goods, not the custody. Why are you saying custody of the goods? Ownership of the goods. B is the correct answer. In case the specific goods are sold, the property in the goods passes to the buyer immediately, at a later date, whenever the buyer decides, or none of the above. Specific goods, remember the examples? Sahitya is the first one to give the correct answer. Meenu Dubey, Vivek Rai, Rushali, Prabjot, excellent answers. Bhajpreet, Krishan Ajay, A is the correct answer. That is immediately. The students in the portal are also giving correct answer. Rajkumar, Shri, yes. Okay, good. A sells 10 bags of sugar to B. The goods are in the deliverable state. If the goods get destroyed, who will bear the loss? The seller will bear the loss or buyer will bear the loss? The goods are in the deliverable state and buyer has been informed about it. Very good, very good. All those who have said buyer will bear the loss, excellent, because the goods are in deliverable state, buyer has been informed by it. Now it is buyer's responsibility to come and take the goods. In the same example, if the goods are yet to be identified out of the lot and to be packed, then who will bear the risk of loss? That means the goods are still unascertained. Something still needs to be done. You still need to take out and do the packing, weighing, measuring. Excellent. Then the seller is held liable. Very good, children. Very good. Okay, the last question. Appropriation of goods means separating the goods from the lot, packing the goods, delivering the goods to the carrier for transmitting to the buyer without reserving the right to disposal, or all of the above. What is the answer to question number 6? Poonam is saying C only. Why? Meenu is also saying C. Don't you think appropriation means segregating the goods? Don't you think it is packing the goods? Bhajpreet is saying just the segregating of the goods. So others, Shri Krishna, Prabjot, Vivek, all of you who have said all of the above is the correct answer. Hiral, Farheen, all of you, good, correct answer. That is, all of the above is the correct answer. You want to do one more? When the seller reserves the right to disposal of the goods, ownership still remains with the seller. True or false? When the seller reserves the right to the goods, ownership remains with the buyer or the seller. Priyanshi, good answers. Absolutely correct. It remains with the seller. True is the correct answer. So very well done, children. And I'm so glad that we have started and almost half of chapter 3 is also done. So we are left with 2 more classes of sale of goods. One is on 19th, another is on 21st. So we will be completing chapter number 3 and we'll try to start chapter number 4 in the next class. And in the 4th class, we will be completing the 4th chapter in the last class. Thank you, Shri Krishna. I'm glad you enjoyed the class. Thank you, Meena Dubey. Akshat, you can write your query in the chat box because raising hands is not allowed in the class. All right. Anyone still wants to ask anything, they can ask. Okay, Akshat, we'll see for the partnership. It is uploaded over there. You can see. Yes, Ronak Jha, your answers are absolutely correct. Thank you, Bhajpreet, for Thank you, students. I hope you enjoyed the class, and the only homework that I expect all of you to do is please revise it, do your writing practice, and be ready and well prepared for the next class on 19th. All right. Yes, Vivek, right. We will be doing descriptive questions from the suggested answers itself. Thank you, Prabjot Kaur. Thank you so much, children. All right, sir, we are done with the session. No more queries students have.